We're here because free speech is under attack. We're here because people are being convinced that socialism works. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
Build Back Better passes, Eric Adams whines about immigration, China increases activity around Taiwan, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's what's happening. The Senate on Sunday passed the so-called Inflation Reduction Act, a spending bill that includes an unprecedented $400 billion to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The legislation also includes health provisions, including reduced prescription drug costs for the elderly. It offsets the spending with a new corporate tax and other tax changes, which will raise costs on consumers, offsetting any savings the bill had included. Democrats scaled down the bill from President Biden's $2.2 trillion Build Back Better package and renamed it the Inflation Reduction Act. Democrats pushed it through the Senate with no Republican votes using a process known as reconciliation. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said the House would move swiftly to pass the bill. The Joint Committee on Taxation and the Congressional Budget Office have both stated that the bill will do nothing to affect inflation. New York City Mayor Eric Adams blasted Texas Governor Greg Abbott after a second bus of illegal migrants arrived at his doorstep. Adams gave a news conference Sunday morning at the Port Authority where he greeted an incoming bus of around 40 migrants, only 14 of whom disembarked in New York. Adams declared New York as a sanctuary city and is now complaining that the city cannot handle the influx of migrants coming from Texas. So far, less than 100 migrants have been bused to New York from Texas. The city of 8 million people is apparently incapable of handling an additional 100 people. China expanded its military drills near Taiwan in an ongoing response to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's recent visit to the island, which Beijing considers part of its territory. China announced 5 exclusion zones in the Yellow Sea during exercises scheduled for August 5th to August 15th, and 4 zones in the Bohai Sea for a month of maneuvers starting today. Taiwan has never been controlled by China's ruling Communist Party, but Beijing officially seeks peaceful reunification and threatens to seize the island by force if it formally declares independence. Yes, you heard that right. They want peaceful reunification, but will take the island by force. The White House last week summoned Chinese Ambassador Qin Gang to discuss China's irresponsible military actions, which included launching missiles that flew over Taiwan. President Biden has backed down in the face of this Chinese aggression and canceled our own military exercises in the region. Airlines canceled hundreds of flights over the weekend in the latest round of disruptions for travelers. At least 912 flights were canceled on Sunday, according to flight tracking website FlightAware, following 657 cancellations and 7,267 delays on domestic and international departures and arrivals on Saturday. Chicago O'Hare Airport experienced the worst disruptions on Sunday, with 12% of its flights canceled and more than 40% delayed. Many airlines that cut back on flights early in the coronavirus pandemic have had trouble keeping fully staffed since travel rebounded. The Transportation Department last week announced it was considering extending protections for passengers requesting refunds rather than alternative transportation after canceled flights. And with all those flights being canceled over in Europe, the Orient Express is making a comeback. The train that forever changed luxury travel almost 140 years ago, debuting on October 4th, 1883, is being brought back to life by French hospitality group Accor. Starting in 2024 and just in time for the Paris Olympics, the railroad icon will gear up to resume service from the French capital to the rest of the continent, reviving the same lavish journeys of its heyday. While details and itineraries have yet to be confirmed, it's likely that some of the routes will end in Istanbul, just as it was for the first Orient Express. The relaunch is part of a resurgence in European train travel. The EU is aiming to double high-speed rail use by 2030 and triple current levels by 2050. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of The Raw Naked Truth at xvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Audible, and platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.